Okay, 1 o'clock. Hopefully we got some people looking in. Now, what I want to talk to you today about is what I've been talking to you since mid-March all about. Now, some of you asking questions about things that I've already covered in the, I think, 6 or 7 videos that I've done so far for you guys. What I'd say is I would probably go back through those videos maybe once every few days, have a look at them, and you'll get more information from them. If you just assume that I haven't said anything to you, you'll find that and ask me questions, then I tend to have to repeat myself, and the people that have seen it already, they tend to say, well, he's already said that. But that's because other people have asked me, again, because they haven't either known to look in the videos or haven't bothered to look. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the stuff we've done before, and just to emphasize why it's important to do these things now. Okay, this situation that we're in is going to go on for a long time. You and we as human beings need to be as fit as we possibly can. If you get injured, all right, that's going to set you back. It's going to make the household quite stressful. If you get injured, it's going to make you more frustrated if you get injured. So if you can follow these just basic techniques, this will help you. So what I'm going to talk about is this, all right, a little bit. So if I put this is a hat, and if I put this hat on my elbow, yeah, and then I walk out, that's not going to work, okay? Yeah. Whereas if I put this hat on my head and I walk out, that'll work, so it will stay there, okay? And what I mean by that is, it's a technique, okay? That is a technique for wearing a hat, all right? All the exercises that you do have a technique, all right? There's a technique for walking slowly, like this. There's a technique for running, okay, like this. So everything you do has a technique. Now, if you follow the techniques, the likelihood is, and you do them slowly and you load progressively and you don't do them too often or too soon or too much of them, these exercises, these exercise techniques, then the likelihood is that you won't get injured. If you do the technique wrong, okay, you will get injured. So a lot of people are talking about wrist problems, and they're saying, well, is it because my wrist is too weak to do these particular exercises? Answer to that is no. Okay, you've been using your wrists for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. I've been using these wrists, okay? The problem is if you don't align the wrists when you're doing particular exercises, yeah, then you're going to damage them. So if you're like that, you'll damage them. If you're like that, you'll damage them, yeah, with doing curls. Yeah, keep your wrists like this. Curling, push-ups, okay? If your wrists aren't very strong in that position, because we don't do that position very often, do we? Yeah, unless you're pushing a car away, you don't do that position very often. So if you're not used to it, and if they are a little bit weak in that position, then make sure you keep them in that position. The way you can do that is you can use a push-up bar, and that will keep you in that position, all right? And if you haven't got a push-up bar, you can use a barbell, not a barbell, a dumbbell for that position. Or if not, you can do it on your fists, nice and flat, yeah, with gentle fist, gentle closing, not a fist punch, gentle fist, and you can keep that wrist in alignment like that, very easy. So you don't have to bend it, so you don't have to flex it back, so it doesn't get compressed and you get damage through here. The other thing that you can do is a yoga trick, is you can use a little support like this, and you put that underneath your wrist at a certain level, so when you go up, there's less pressure going down through that wrist compartment. Okay, so those are the things that is going to help you with that wrist injury. Right, the worst position for your shoulder to be in is where your arm is up here. So this is your arm, this is your forearm, this is your arm here. The worst position, yeah, for strength-wise, is that position, okay? So you need to be strong all the way through your body in order to hold that position. Now, if you can't hold that position, you will damage through here, the shoulders, all right? This is not a push-up position, all right? So imagine that's the floor on my hands. Doing that or doing that's not a push-up position. You are going to damage your shoulders, either now or later on. This is the push-up position, all right? Hands at pec level, arms more towards the body than far out. If they're far out, you'll get injured. If they're closer in, it switches on the muscles around your shoulder joint to stop you getting injured. That's the push-up position. Do that, get injured. Do that, get injured, okay? Don't do it. Look at the technique. If you're not sure, ask Mark. He's your PT. He knows the good techniques, all right? It's no good you doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of push-ups if you're doing it wrong, okay? I would rather you do slowly 5 push-ups that are correct. In fact, I would rather that you did the exercises, some of the exercises slower, okay? The reason Mark does it faster is to create your heart rate pumping up, okay? To create your respiratory system to fire that up. So it has to work harder, yeah? And that burns more fat. That's why he does it, okay? But otherwise, you want to make sure that every exercise you do is done with perfect form, yeah? Correctly, so it recruits all the muscles that it's designed to recruit. So the slower you do it with a weight, the more muscles are recruited in that movement, okay? The more efficient it is, the less time you need to exercise. It's very simple, very simple. Okay, so we've dealt with the wrist, dealt with the shoulders. Let's deal with your core, okay? Your core is the stabilizer of your body, all right? So your core, what we call the deep core muscles, is called the transversus abdominis, and it attaches around into your spine and goes around like a corset all the way up into your ribs, all the way down into your pubis, and it wraps around like a corset. Now, in order to activate that, you don't do a sit-up, okay? Those muscles here, your rectus abdominis, as a straight muscle. Rectus means straight. It attaches here and runs down into your pubis directly here. It is simply there to allow you to breathe, to push in your visceral organs and let them come out, okay? It does not attach to your spine at all, okay? So doing lots of sit-ups ain't gonna help your spine. In fact, if anything, it's gonna make you do that, yeah, which is gonna make your spine worse. So pulling in, drawing in from the sides, yeah? Pulling in from the sides, drawing in the belly button, pulling yourself tall will activate the core. Now, if you have that position, when you're training, are you pulling yourself up, drawing yourself in, yeah? That is what's going to give you a really good strong back, okay? It's a postural thing, a strong back. So whenever you're doing a overhead, you're drawing the core in, yeah? That, drawing the core in, stabilizes your shoulders, makes you strong through there so you don't damage that shoulder. That's what I was talking about before. Overhead presses, you need your shoulders dropped, the core activated, and you go overhead. You'll see that in one of my other videos where I do mobility at the shoulder and I get you to draw your core down, tense your glutes, take your arms back overhead, okay? Have a look at the videos. I'm not going to go over it again because I've already done it, okay? So, activate your core. In fact, what I would say is when you're doing the washing up, activate your core. When you're cooking, activate your core lightly, okay? It's called core mobility, not core stability, okay? Core stability we used to do in the past. We used to think that you activate your core tightly in order to stabilize your spine. Okay, now what that did is people started doing these very tight activations and the spine couldn't move, and we were getting problems with that. So now what we want to do is you want to activate your core, putting it in, tightly, lightly tensing your butt, but to maybe 20% of your 100% maximum. Yeah, so if that's your 100% maximum, you can't move. In fact, a very good way of thinking about that is if you're trying to move your wrist around like this, backwards and forwards, yeah, around in a circle, and then gently try to do that again when you're lightly making a fist, okay, you'll feel a difference, and then tightly make a fist, try and move your wrist around. Now that, when you do your tight fist and you try and move your wrist around, yeah, that limits the movement in here because all the muscles are activated. It's like your core being overactivated. So if you do that, that's what it's like. And we don't want that. We want you to be relaxed so that you can still have that stabilized, yeah, but you can still move your body, okay? So that's what I mean by activating your core. That is core mobility. Okay, so you're going to switch that on. Okay, you're going to do your flexibility through your hips. Yeah, your Michelle Pfeiffer's backwards and forwards. The last video I did, I think was on, no, the one before last was on hip mobility. Go and look at that. Get your hips mobile. So you get your hips mobile, that works through the rest of your spine, and it will help you with your technique. Okay. Whilst we're talking about the spine, you're going to use the foam roller. Again, I think I put a video on about how to use a foam roller. What I'll do is I'll put one on after this that I did a while back for my page. Again, if you can't find that, go on my page. Okay, but I would like you to do this exercise that I show you once in the morning and once at night, and that will keep your spine nice and mobile. Yeah, this is injury prevention. This is to stop you getting pain. This is to stop you being a pain in your house. This is to stop you having to pay someone like me to treat you, to get you out of your pain. Okay, this is preventative. This is free. This is what Mark has paid me to do for you. Okay, so take advantage of it. We'll go back down, I think we'll go back down to the knee. Now, with the knee, when you do your squats, okay, a lot of you people need to think that if these are your feet, as you press down into the ground with your feet, or you stood on your feet, if you're going to do a squat, I want you to press down and squeeze your feet out. So you're pressing into the ground and squeezing it like that into the ground. You're screwing your feet into the ground. Now, if you hold your butt when you do that, and you activate your core and you're squeezing your feet into the ground, you will feel your butt get tight. You will feel your butt activate, okay? That's what we need. That stabilizes your butt. It stabilizes through your quads and your hamstrings, all right? So rather than your knees dropping in like this when you're doing a squat and you're being like a floppy dolly, okay, what you're doing is you're activating your core. You're drilling down into the ground, squeezing your butt because your feet are turned out. Your butt helps you activate that turning out your feet, also in your knees. And then what you want to be thinking about doing is pushing your knees towards the outside. Yeah, thinking about that, dropping down into that squat and then coming up again. All of these muscles should be firing up when you're doing the squat. If you're doing that, that's a problem. If you drop down in one knee, which people tend to do because they get one leg longer than the other, that will damage the inside of your knees. Yeah, it'll have a knock-on effect in your hips as well. So I want you to think about that. It's about technique. Get your technique right, you won't get injured. Yeah, get your technique and your load right. Ask your PT, and you won't get injured. All right, but you have to concentrate on it as well. Okay, you can't expect your PT to see everything that you do. You have to specify, and so not specify. You have to take control of what you're doing. All right. Now, the other thing is I mentioned about is that brain dump. Okay. At the end of the day, write out everything that's in your head. Date it, write it out, look back on it over the weeks. All right. It is a way of controlling your thoughts, your emotions. Okay. If you have a problem with someone, write it down, give them a little note and say, look, this is. I don't want to talk about it. I just like you to read it. It's a way of diffusing an argument. Okay, that's really all I wanted to chat about today. Okay, anybody who wants to know about stuff, direct message me. If you need an assessment, I charge £40 for this community. Otherwise, it's £45. Online assessment. Okay, you can book in with me by messaging me. I'd love to do it for nothing, but unfortunately we're all trying to make a living in this this interesting situation, and it's about 20 quid cheaper than I do normally in before this, basically because we are not making money. So hopefully that's useful. Any queries, any problems, let me know. please give me some feedback if you'd like. If you'd like, then like my Facebook page at Zac Laraman Muscle and Joint Health and Wellbeing, or my my Instagram currently, which is ZacOsteo16. But hopefully that's useful, and have a good afternoon.